Hello, writers, and welcome back to Spooky Writes. My name's Kamal Lenore, and today I'm going to be talking all about why May 15th is one of the most important days in my life. So let's head into the storm. Okay, writes. So May 15th is a date that stands out to me, not because it has any holiday to it, but because for me, it's the day that I suffered a life-altering event. At the age of 13, I suffered a massive stroke, which I was given a 5% chance of surviving said stroke. It took over 4 hours for me to get to the hospital, and it was a very long road to recovery. And I very much came very close to dying. But my life has been if I were to look at my life, I'd say my life is very much defined as before the stroke and after the stroke. So before the stroke, I was I was an athletic kid. Again, I had my stroke at the age of 12, 13, which is unheard of. But the truth of the matter is that 2 out of every strokes is in fact a young person. And normally it's attributed to some sort of family history. It's attributed to obesity. It's attributed to an unhealthy lifestyle. I had none of these factors. I had no family history of stroke in my family. There was nothing that doctors could point to for why I had a stroke at such a young age. I set and held state track records for the state of Vermont, where I grew up in. And so the reason why I'm talking about this on this channel, and the reason why it's still related to writing, for me at least, is that May 15th was the day that I had this very close, I had this near-death experience, and it caused me to very much reevaluate my life, caused me to have to refigure out what I'm going to do now that I no longer have certain physical abilities, now that I no longer have use of my left side, which is why I'm always talking with just my one hand. And I write with one hand. And for me, reading was very difficult when I came out of the hospital. I still have no left side peripheral vision. So the left half of both eyes is completely dead. And I had to learn how to do everything again. I had to learn how to read again. I had to learn how to walk again. In fact, I was told that I would never walk again. I was told I would never finish high school. I was told that I would never be able to live on my own. I've accomplished all these things and more. I've accomplished a master's, finished high school, and went on to undergrad. And I've far exceeded all the expectations of these doctors and the specialists who at one point told my parents to say their goodbyes because I wasn't going to make it through the night. This forced me to reevaluate my life and forced me to figure out what am I capable of now that I have this limitation. And so I'm making this video as a reminder for myself to know how thankful that I am to still be alive, to still be on this planet, how thankful I am to be able to write, and how thankful I am that I've persevered through so much. Again, reading for me when I first came out of the hospital was a chore. It was time consuming. I would read a line, and then I would jump back in about the middle of the next line, and it would just go back and forth because it wouldn't make any sense. And I hadn't adjusted to my new vision, and it would take me hours and hours and hours to read through just a few pages, and I would be mentally exhausted and mentally drained. And I persevered through that act of reading, and in fact, it was one of my favorite authors that I discovered through this act of trying to relearn and trying to teach myself how to read again. And for me, that was the book, The Pawn of Prophecy by David Eddings, which is a book that I vividly remember reading I read the introduction, and I lost the book, misplaced it somewhere, but I kept thinking about that book. And then I found it later. We had moved somewhere, and I found that book again, and I read it. And that was probably the first book that I read after my stroke. And again, it was a book that I was interested in, and a book that I fell in love with. It was something that kept me going, and I wanted to persevere. And I'm making this video as a reminder of myself that back in 2003, 2004, I was right at this point in my life, I was on death's door. I had a 5% chance of surviving this stroke. So I came within moments of not being on this planet, not being here, not being able to write. And so I'm making this video because I'm so thankful for the fact that I'm still alive and that I'm still moving forward. And so this video is going to be a little different than the normal videos that I've been making on this channel. And I hope it can serve as inspiration that if I'm able to write novels and short stories and do all this with one hand, you should be able to also, again, reading is something that you can get better at. Writing is something that you can get better at. You can improve in all facets of being an author. You can improve in all areas of writing. You need to keep working at it. You need to just keep going. And the best time to do it is today. The time to have done it was yesterday, and the best time to do it is to start today. So take yourself seriously as a writer. Again, I had to relearn the act of reading. I had to relearn the act of walking. I had to relearn even the simple act of dressing myself. And I do all this with the use of one hand and some adaptive techniques. But again, I'm able to fully write, and I was able to complete a graduate course load. I was able to complete an undergraduate level workload in writing using one hand. So you need to try and do your best to avoid excuses and do your best to just keep working, keep moving forward, keep learning, keep improving, because the more reading you do, the more writing you do, the better you're going to get. Again, it's a lengthy process, and you need to just kind of be thankful for the time that you have and the time that you have available to you to start writing. If you want to start writing today and keep writing. Don't let anyone ever talk you out of writing, because it's so important that you share your story. And that's what makes every single writer unique. That's what makes us all interesting as human beings, is that we all have different perspectives. I have this perspective that has separated me from a lot of people, of almost dying at the age of 12. And it makes me so sad to think about how young I was and all the things that I was never supposed to have accomplished, and all the things that I have accomplished give me great pride, and the things that I'm continuing to accomplish, making YouTube videos, making content, writing, and putting myself out there. So I know that being an author can be full of fear, and it can be truly scary to present yourself as an author and to even get up in front of people and read your work, or even just to have other people read your work at a beginning stage. And you need to just keep pushing through, feel those butterflies, feel that fear, continue to improve day by day. Every book that you read is another book that you can learn from. Every word that you write is another word that you can say, I've accomplished. Again, it starts with baby steps, and eventually you're running along and you're bounding along. And I had to relearn how to read. And so if you're at a stage where you're like, I don't enjoy reading, but I want to be an author, practice reading. Again, reading is a skill. If you make reading a habit, you'll get better at it, you'll get stronger at it, and you'll be able to you'll read better texts, you'll read stronger books. You just need to kind of find a book that you fall in love with, and then just keep reading, keep writing. And you have to have a passion for this craft. Otherwise, you're not going to you're going to get burnt out. And again, this channel is not about chasing money. This channel is all about pursuing your passion and how to improve. So again, I just want to make this video talking about how thankful I am to still be alive, and how thankful I am to be able to share my videos and share my stories with the world. And Thank you so much. And as always, keep it spooky. Also know that that a lot of my stories take inspiration from near-death experiences. Again, this is what makes us all unique. This is what makes us all interesting as human beings, is our own interesting takes and our own experiences. So again, I've touched on this idea in previous videos of you want to have experiences, you want to do things that put you out of your comfort zone, and then you want to kind of see how can you use these experiences as material for your writing. And ideally, you're evaluating your writing. Ideally, you're reading critically, you're editing your own work critically, and you're continuing to keep getting better. So again, thank you so much for watching. I very much appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and thank you so much. And then I'm still going to give you your writing prompt for this week, and your writing prompt for this week is: the old Chevy wouldn't move, so we left it at the edge of the road and headed into the woods, and there we started blank. So set your timers and start writing. Thank you so much.